So recognize Ms. Kiggans.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to ask a couple more questions about the privatized family housing and just reading the GAO report. So we have 99% of our family housing is now privatized. So we're almost all the way there. So it's come a long way. And what were the biggest challenges of implementation when we made that decision of we're going to go privatized? I think it's been a work in progress, and I've only been here a limited time, really paying attention. But what did that look like? That transformation?
I'll jump in, Congresswoman, and go first. It was a long time ago for the Army. Our projects are now approaching 20, 25, even 30 years in length. And our oldest project is Fort Carson. But the transition goes along the lines of moving an owned inventory to privatized housing provider, putting in place a ground lease. Some of those original ground leases that we have still exist. So we are just now in the process of looking at changing the ground leases to include the statutory guidance that was provided back in 2020 to include things like enforcement provisions, as well as things like the Davis-Bacon Act provisions. So we're looking now at strengthening these ground leases. We have learned a lot in the last 25 years. We've learned, for example, that perhaps we didn't get it right in the beginning with respect to the amount of equity that we put into these projects. And our projects are structured all a little bit differently. Ours are more similar than the Air Force. But we did, in the very beginning, attempt to provide an inventory to that provider that was a healthy inventory. However, we have 19,000 legacy homes that are older housing stock that are still out there that we need to take a look at how we renovate, how we recapitalize. I'll turn this over to you.
Yeah, I'll go quickly. I think consistent with what Ms. Colson said, I think the first period was marked with the actual effort of taking the government-owned inventory, getting the land leases done, essentially a significant recapitalization effort of those houses. I'll go back to the GAO reports. I think what we found was once that effort was done and they were now in the hands of the private companies, there was almost a sentiment that they had been outsourced at that point, and hence maybe the lack of oversight that was required. And again, GAO highlighted that several years ago, and I think we'll talk today about much of the progress we've made since then. I do just want to offer, as we talk about privatized housing and then the possibility of privatized barracks, that we've learned lessons about not disconnecting and maintaining our oversight and accountability. I think we apply those today in the unaccompanied barracks, and I think the scale is a completely different issue as well. Several tens of thousands of homes versus currently 4 buildings and ideally a lot more.
Yeah, great.
Thank you, ma'am.
Congressman, I say that our later projects, we applied the lessons that we learned on our earlier ones. We did it over a decade span or so. And the problems that we're having now financially with our projects are the earlier projects where they were just poorer deals for a bunch of reasons. I think a lot of the lessons we learned could be applied to any future privatization. I would agree with him that, when you privatize, I think commanders took the eye off the ball. We've worked to strengthen our commander involvement, and to Chairman Bacon's point, we have a 4-star twice-a-year gathering where we have a housing council at the 4-star level with them looking at it. We have a 2-star level. We also empower our installation commanders through training. We give them what we call an HP 101, and we hold them accountable. I think for the most part, commanders felt like it wasn't commanders' business anymore, and that was made clear in the 2018-2019 business. So, what did we learn? We learned that, by financially financing these things doesn't mean you can walk away from the deals. You still have a part.
And also reading the GAO report, it seems there's 14 private housing companies then that provide this privatized family housing. Does that work okay? Is it disjointed at all? Is there enough standardization? Is that a good model where we have lots of different companies doing different things? Or because I just want to take our lessons learned from this decade that we've learned good things and apply it to unaccompanied housing and how we can, if we do go that route, implement it correctly.
I think there's more standardization now than there was previously. There is an organization, the Military Housing Association, that tries to pull these providers together and get them to see things the same way. We're working right now on a quality assurance, quality control plan. They are with us to use across our 6. The Army's got 6 providers. So we are looking, it is important to standardize, and we're looking to do that in a better way. And I think the legislation from 2020 on has helped.
Good.